Hey everyone, Reese Cooper here, and in today's video, I'm going to explain the tree marketing strategy. Now, I know that sounds super simple, but it's actually something that a lot of PT clinics are getting wrong right now, and a lot of people are overlooking. They're trying to jump to their end result, their ideal outcome, and they're not taking things step by step. So in this video, I'm just going to explain what the tree marketing strategy is. I'm going to go hop over to Miro on the whiteboard, and I'm just going to explain a bit more in depth so that you can get it and kind of understand the idea fully. And by the end of this video, you will leave knowing how to absolutely crush this for your practice. All right, so as you can see on screen here, we have the dream situation for most physical therapy clinics. And what most owners don't actually know to begin with is that referrals and marketing is kind of split into two different trees. Okay, so on the right here, we have the marketing tree where, clinic owners should be spending about 80% of their time, or at least 70% of their time. It takes effort and work to grow this, it takes time to grow this. It's not something that happens overnight. And the most important thing is to start with one method and expand from there. Have one thing that's working and expand from there. You may be asking yourself, why are we talking about trees when we're trying to get more patients into my clinic, right? That's a great question. So if you think of marketing like a plant, right? If you were given a seed and you were told to grow that seed, you would need to plant it in some soil, you would need to nurture it for days on end until it eventually started popping through the soil. It doesn't happen overnight, right? Think of your marketing the same way. You need to nurture these systems and continue to work on them, continue to grow them until you get to a point where it becomes self-sustaining and you can automate and make these systems completely autonomous, right? But the thing that most people don't realize is that it takes days to grow a plant from a seed to a plant, but it takes one day to actually just kill it and stop it. And it's the same with marketing. If you're not showing up constantly and doing this every single day, or at least every second day, and you're not actively working on bettering these systems, then you can kill the entire progress. You can kill all of the downhill momentum that you've gained up until that point, right? And then you have to start from scratch. So this is the ideal marketing situation, right? You have your tree where you have the base of the tree. The trunk of the tree is your marketing strategy. And that is something that's proven, that's something that you know works, and that's something that you are confident with moving forward in, right? Then just underneath the leaves, you can't really see it, but underneath the leaves here, you'll have like branches branching off in different directions. And those are simply the systems and the methods of marketing that you guys are using within your strategy, right? First things first is that you want to think of your marketing tree as not having multiple and starting with multiple branches at the beginning. Think of it as growing one branch at a time, right? So you want to start with one thing until that thing works and then move on to the next. You don't want to be growing 6 or 7 different marketing branches all at once because none of them will ever pan out. That's just the way of the world. You need to be focusing on one. This is not something that you were taught in school, and it's just simply the best way to go about it is growing each branch individually before moving on to the next. So once you have all of these branches in place, you then get the fruit-bearing strategies, which are essentially where the tree will then start to give back, and it'll start to give more and more back to you, and eventually it's autonomous, and you just get to pick the fruit, and that's it, right? That's how it works. So that's the dream situation on that side. And then you'll also have your referral tree, which is something that is flowering nicely. As your marketing tree grows, the referral tree will grow, and that's essentially now you have the best of both worlds. What a lot of clinic owners don't know, and what a lot of them tend to do, is they try and grow the referral tree and just ignore the marketing tree altogether. So the thing about the referral tree is that it actually grows on its own, and it doesn't need human intervention other than actually just asking your current patients if they know anyone who need PT. That's the only type of intervention that system needs and that tree needs. It doesn't need anything but time. And so it cannot be forcefully grown. It's not something that can be tampered with by a human or forced upon, So that's one of the main things that PT clinic owners are getting wrong right now, okay? But here's the reality of where most clinics actually are. So their trees look like this. They've got, one, two, three, four, five, six different branches that all branch off in many more different ways. And the main problems that they're facing is they have a weak foundation. That's why this tree is not full of leaves and fruit. It's because they have a weak marketing foundation and strategy in place. And they're trying to do too many different methods at once before finding one that works. I just got off a call with a PT clinic owner the other day who just joined on as a client with K Point Consulting. And the thing is that when he told me what he was doing, he told me he was doing social media and trying to post 4 times a week on three or four different platforms. He was trying to do newsletter. He was doing workshops. He was doing email marketing. He was doing SEO. He was doing way too much, and none of these things were actually working. The workshops alone take so much time and preparation and marketing on their own to get people to those workshops. So it's just you don't get the ROI and the output that you need when doing so many things. All you get is burnout, stress, chaos, and as an end result, you get absolutely no growth. That's not what we want, right? And so, as you can see, the next point here is they're also just too focused on the referral tree. You're focusing all your time on growing this tree when, in actual fact, like it grows on its own, right? So why are you putting effort and energy towards something that is completely autonomous to begin with, right? And obviously, there's reasons for that. One of the main reasons is that, well, most physical therapy clinic owners don't know how to do marketing. They don't, then they don't want to learn because, well, it's something that you didn't sign up for that, right? You didn't sign up to market and be a marketer and learn how to manipulate people and so on, so on, so on, right? And it also sometimes conflicts with being a healthcare worker. When you do marketing and when you do sales, it can sometimes feel very unethical just because you're trying to convert people, which at the end of the day is actually they're just words. You're actually are helping people. It's not the sneaky bad evil thing, right? At the end of the day, but I know it can be a conflict of interest for sure. And obviously as a result from this, there's no fruit, there's no leaves, there's no nothing. You're just kind of stuck doing all of this and getting absolutely nothing back. All right, so the question you should be asking yourself is, so how do I fix this? How do we fix this at our clinic? That is an awesome question. I'm so glad you asked that. So let's just dive into how we are going to fix this, right? It's a simple 6-step process that will take you from where you are now to having 2 fruit-bearing trees completely autonomously, right? So step 1 is you want to identify your ideal patient avatar. This could be trail runners, this could be ice skaters, this could be road runners, marathon, ultra marathon, whoever you enjoy seeing and enjoy working with, right? So we'll go ahead and identify who exactly they are. Once you've done that, you want to figure out where to find them, either online or in person. Now, we prefer online just because of the leverage that you have. So that's what we do at K Point Consulting. We think and we use doing these workshops and in-person events is more of an icing on top of the cake, community connecting type of, strategy, right? It's something to get you more well-known within the community rather than to actually get more patients. So once you've done that, you want to figure out your marketing strategy and approach. So, you want to get them to know about you, realize that you're alive and around and where you are, right? And, for example, at K Point Agency, what we do is, and what we have found is that paid advertising on Meta is actually the best and most effective way, to actually go about this because of the power and control you actually hold when doing it, and it's kind of less of a guessing game on who's seeing your stuff. For example, if you're doing content, the whole world sees your stuff. It's kind of more down to you to narrow it and make sure that you're able to reach the right people. Like, for example, you seeing this right now, is a way that is my system of actually getting this video to you. There's nothing paid about this. It's completely organic, but it's a lot harder and there's a lot more nuances to it, right? So paid advertising is just one of the best ways to go about it. So many clinics are leaving so much money and impact on the table by not doing it, right? So I highly recommend looking into that. All right, so once you have completed step 1 and are on your way to step 2, you now have some sort of strategy in place, and you want to go ahead and build out the first part of that system, which is the attraction system. Now, this is actually where a lot of clinic owners go wrong. They think that the attraction system alone is enough to get people through the door, and most clinics just stop there, where in actual fact they need to keep going on with the system of processes designed to make sure that the people book in an eval and show up to that eval and then convert into patients during that eval. And that is a long list of systems. Well, it's a good few systems that you got to have in place beyond the attraction part. I see too many clinics going, oh, well, if we have Facebook ads, then they're just going to come. If we build it out, they'll just come and then they'll convert, and life is easy. That's actually, unfortunately, not how it works. You've got to have the right systems in place to take people from where they are in their head to where you want them to be in their head, right? You want people to come through the door knowing and having some sort of parasocial, parasympathetic relationship with you that they've built online, and you want them to essentially almost love and appreciate your clinic for what it is before they walk through the door. All right, so step 3 is a bit more of an intricate step, right? So you'll have the attraction system in place. Let's say you have advertising. You figured out how to do the advertising, obviously the stimuli of writing out the copy for the ad, the creative for the ad. You've kind of put all that together. Then you go ahead and you start working on the nurture processes and system. And this is just in order to make sure that people are showing up to the evaluation and booking the evaluation in. And obviously, we all know how irritating no-shows are, so I completely get that. We essentially want to eradicate no-shows, right? Now, the other tricky part about this nurture system is it should be designed not only to get them to show up, but also to convert them as much as possible, if that makes sense. You want to convert them in their head as much as possible before they step through your clinic doors, right? So how do we do this? Well, you want to have a pre-evaluation form where they fill out a bit of information about themselves, what they're kind of suffering with, what injury they have, what they've tried before, etc., just to get a bit of the basic information out of the way, right? You next want to have personalized messages and appointment reminders to ensure that they show up and they feel completely cared for as a person and feels completely one-to-one and human. And then you want them to experience a seamless flow of systems. You want them to just kind of, they get guided by the seamless experience from the point that they book in an appointment with you guys in an eval to the point where they walk through the doors and you call their name out into the treatment room and you go ahead and you want that entire experience to be completely seamless and to be it just needs to be in flow, right? And then the bonus for this is you can add a congratulations message. So many people avoid PT or don't even know what PT is or don't even know that there's a way out of their situation. And if they do, they just a lot of the time they put it off. So having a congratulations message after someone is booked is one of the best ways to actually get people to have an early kind of positive feeling about you. Is simply just by congratulating and acknowledging that they've taken a big step by actually booking in the call or the evaluation. Cool. So here we are in step 4. And now that you have that nurture sequence in place, you've got it maybe semi-automated and you're having consistent and happy show-up rates to evaluations, it's time to make sure that your script and either yourself or your PTs or both are asking the right questions and collecting the right information from patients. Now this is where that pre-eval form comes into play, as it allows you to just dig deeper with your questioning and get more pain from the patient, which equals a higher conversion rate. Now, you're not looking for pain, but you want a full understanding of how the injury that they're coming in is affecting their lives beyond movement. How is it affecting their family life? How is it affecting them playing with their kids? If it's a guy, how is it affecting his sex life with his wife? These are all things that you kind of want to ask people because of how much pain it actually holds. And it makes people feel really, really like they need a bit more than just movement. They need something, they need you to essentially help them get back to doing all of these things, right? And so the action items for this would just be like, get your script on point, make sure to ask the right questions, make sure to be pressing on a few more pain points. And like I said, that's where the pre-eval form comes into play because it gets all the basic information out of the way and you actually get to just dive deeper with the patient, right? And then obviously the experience as the patient walks into the clinic, as I already said, you want to make sure that it's seamless, that they enjoy themselves, that the staff are all nice to them, and kind of just keep on pressing on that needle until it runs out of juice. Okay, cool. So step 5 is, once you have those 3 systems locked into place, you kind of want to, you'll start to see fruits growing, and you'll be able to consistently, collect these fruits. You'll start, things will start to taste sweeter, systems will be more consistent, patients will be coming in. Then your referral tree will start to grow, and even more so when you ask one simple question, and that is, who do you know may also be struggling with pain point, with Achilles problems, with knee problems, with shoulder pain, with back pain, and they'll simply just recommend, friends, and they'll recommend you to friends, all right? And you can slap an offer on top of this, say, if you refer us, we're doing a 2-for-1, we're doing a, maybe not 2-for-1, I know there's a lot of ethical codes between what you are and aren't allowed to offer people. But a lot of the time, there's definitely ways around this, and there's different offers that you could offer people and incentives that you could offer people. There's just it's a very nuanced kind of journey that you go on through that, trying to figure out what a good offer looks like. And I'll definitely do a video on offers and how to actually structure your offer. That's definitely coming soon. So you can also keep your eyes and ears open for that. And yeah, we'll go through that in the next video. But let's move on to the last point. Okay, cool. So now we're on to the last step, which is step 6. And this is the Google review collection. Now we know how important it is to collect Google reviews, just because it makes your trust within the community and online presence go up that much more. Now, how do we do it? Well, you want this to be completely autonomous, right? And so you want to have some sort of system in place that after an eval or after a treatment session, they get a WhatsApp message, they get a text message that obviously has a link to the Google reviewing. And you want to make sure that the stimuli and the copy within that is structured a certain way so that they want to give, a Google review, and it makes it more frictionless for them to actually go ahead and give you that Google review, right? And so that's pretty much it. That is all 6 steps. They're all very tightly linked. They are incredibly nuanced in some of them. I know it may look like a lot to digest and build out, but once you have these steps in place, you actually have something that is scalable and something that you can then go ahead and work on growing in terms of your impact and revenue for the clinic. Awesome. So go ahead and hit the subscribe and like button for more videos just like this, where I break down more systems and processes to help you grow your cash or hybrid PT practice so fast that it feels illegal. And if you are wondering, you can also go ahead and book in a call. There'll be a link down below for you to go ahead and book in a call with either myself or a member of my team, where we can explore what we can actually do for your practice alone, and we can essentially just, explode it. We can get you guys 25 plus evaluations in every single month consistently, and help you just make the impact that you want to make. So if that sounds like you, and you are maybe stuck either between 20 and 30K or even 10 and 30K, and you want to grow and you want to make an impact on the world and leave a footprint, go ahead and book your call down below. And I'll catch you in the next video.